Hello, my name is Deja Ross, and welcome to the brand development of Salty Dog Sea Salt Caramels. Salty Dog Sea Salt Caramels have a unique flavor of salt and sweet mixture. We target older adults from 35 to 65 years old. Our audience also likes to be different and chooses to chew our delicious caramels to get away from other boring candies in the market. Some words that would describe our brand are salty, flavorful, ocean, or chewy. They made me think of blue and red hues. Some of our customers include Alicia James, who is a painter and artist that enjoys living in New York, looking into the skyline. She also chews salty dog caramels as she paints and creates her newest project. For her, it gives her a more sophisticated flavor that sparks the creativity in her. Janet and Shane Gruley are professional German wrestlers living in Wichita, Kansas. Sea salt caramels give them both a sweet and chewy energizer between matches. It quickly melts in their mouths so they can get back to wrestling. Another one of our customers is 65-year-old Hunter Green, who lives in his California cabin after retiring from auto sales. He always carries caramels in his pocket and hands them out on his daily walks. Initial design inspiration came from many images. I love the brown tones in the Caramel Men's Boutique logo. The face of the dogs inspired the center of my logo and got me looking at shapes to incorporate. The yin yang sign made me think about the mixture of flavors and how salty and sweetness combine peacefully. Looking at the logos of competitor brands, I didn't really see that they signified what they were really selling, except for Ghirardelli, which says chocolate at the bottom of the logo. Werther's is actually the only one to incorporate an image. Ghirardelli also uses an eagle as their symbol, while the other brands just use text. I do really enjoy the brown colors that move more towards candy, as well as the red in Bixby Co. because it reminds me of licorice. When I was picking out fonts that I would want to use as the display of the logo, I wanted to pick something that stood out and wasn't basic. I decided to go with Mighty Slab because it was heavier and bold, such as one of the keywords that represented the brand. For info level fonts, I wanted to find something legible but unique for the brand. I chose Canada MN because it wasn't too heavy and was a good sans serif pair with the Mighty Slab. I also liked that it didn't look too structured. When I began designing, I thought about the words in Salty Dog and Sea Salt Caramels. I began with the initials, then I thought about the nautical connotation, which led me to a dog in a navy hat. I then looked at my references and inspiration. I used the yin yang symbol and wanted to incorporate a dog's face. I explored more with the letters of Salty Dog and actual caramels. I played with different dog face designs and again with the nautical theme. I also wanted to include the sea salt idea, so I tried to play with salt shakers and different tops. Rounding out my top designs, I drew ideas from my inspiration and emulated the men's fashion icon and mixed it with a caramel on the tail. For my top 3 ideas, I chose number 3, number 4, and number 7. For my first logo concept, I drew the yin yang symbol and pen tooled a dog's face into the white side of it. I also locked it with the heavy Mighty Slab font and tried a cursive pairing. I really liked the original idea of this, so I just tried to play around with different ideas. First, I reversed it to see how it looked. I tried keeping both titles in Mighty Slab. I then played with different dog heads and different dot symbols. I ended up picking my last design to go with, where the dot was a candy. My second logo concept came from my inspiration images. I went with a kind of silly image that represented a dog and had its tongue sticking out. It was more playful with the design look. I explored what it would look like with different items such as eyes and reversed to black as the main color. It then looked kind of plain, and I explored how it would look with the border. I enjoyed the look more, so I expanded it, and the border turned into a kind of candy. I looked at dimensions and colors and tried to make it look more realistic. I chose the design of the dog with the candy and the black ends. For my third logo concept, I took two candies and faced them opposite each other with the initials SD representing Salty Dog inside. I first worked with different fonts and tried to modify the candy shape. I liked how it looked afterwards, then played with fonts again where the black and whites were. At the end, I picked the middle design where I used a Fairwater Sailor Serif font for the initials and to have one candy black while the other stayed white. My first logo test, I used the created logo and used the candy element for the back of the business cards. This is my second logo test. I couldn't decide what element to try on the back, so it ended up being blank for the moment. This is my third logo test where I used the empty candy wrappers as an added element to the back of the business card. I chose the yin yang symbol design as my final. I changed the eye to an actual eye shape and added a grain texture to resemble the texture inside the Mighty Slab text. I really fell in love with the design and its overall look. The shape really stands out as it has a thick and thin line throughout. The Mighty Slab was also paired with a serif Rockwell font that really feels like it balances out. My spot color was a dark teal blue. Most complements were dark oranges that moved towards brown. Other color palettes included purple variations as well as other oranges, browns, and greens. I decided to go with complementary and analogous colors in my final color logo. The blue and brown created a great contrast for each other. The brown really signified the caramel of the whole brand and tied into the candy theme. It really makes me happy to see how this came out, and you kind of think of the calm blue and chocolate caramel color in candy. These are my final color palette matches for my design, starting with Pantone 7712C. It includes light and dark variations of the initial Pantone and two light and dark browns. For the business card designs, I wanted to use a wave element to separate the information from the logo on the back side of the cards, and place the Salty Dog logo lockup on the front of both designs. I also decided to include a light wood texture to the background of the cards to tie into the sea salt and nautical theme of the brand. I think they both came out really well after a few revisions. For the letterhead, I again used the wood texture for a background. I also copied the waves that I created on the business card. Underneath the waves, I painted a shadow to make them pop out a little bit more. I think the wood texture also makes the brown in the logo and text stand out just a bit more. For the envelope design, I wanted to again follow with the wood texture as a background to make everything feel cohesive. On the back, I added the dog center of the logo as a closure sticker. This is the final identity package mock-up all together. I love how it all ties together and feels complete with the matching colors and wood textures throughout. This makes it really feel like a complete brand. I'm really proud of the design and how it all looks. This is the first package design for Salty Dog. I used the wood texture as a background and continued it on the front and back panels. I had to change the sea salt caramels to a white instead of the original brown on the logo so that it could stand out against the wood. On the other two panels, I used my wave pattern with a wood and color background. I chose a purple red color to complement the blues. I used the tagline, "Enjoy being different," because the caramels are for alternative adults that are fun and have a little different taste. It really stands out and actually looks like a real box you would see in stores. For the second product design, I changed the wood background color to a light ocean blue. I really enjoy the calm look that relates back to sea salt in the ocean. I also changed the flaps to a brown to complement the blue hue. The third product design uses a light green background with a purple accent color to kind of give it a little bit more pop and fun feel. I also enjoyed the color combination because it's bright and inviting. It really draws you into what you see. This is the complete package prototype with the purple color. Upright, it looks really amazing. I chose the purple one because it looked the most sophisticated and more for adults who are the chosen target market. I also did a mock-up of what the Salty Dog logo would look like on a promotional item such as a cup, and I think it really came out well and looks nice to complete the whole package. That is the